Moses is one of the most significant figures in the Bible, central to the narrative of the Hebrew Scriptures Old Testament, particularly in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Who is Moses? Moses was a Hebrew born during a time when Pharaoh had ordered the death of all male Hebrew infants. He was hidden by his mother, adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, and raised in the Egyptian royal household. Later in life, after killing an Egyptian who was abusing a Hebrew slave, Moses fled to the wilderness, where he encountered God in the form of a burning bush. What was his mission? Moses' divine mission was to liberate the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, lead them to the promised land Canaan, serve as a mediator between God and the people, deliver God's laws, including the Ten Commandments. What was his message for the people? Moses' core message included, there is only one true God, Yahweh, and he demands exclusive worship. Obey God's commandments to live a just, holy life. Stay faithful to the covenant with God for continued blessings and protection. Trust in God's guidance, even through trials and wilderness. How does it line up spiritually? Spiritually, Moses represents the archetype of the liberator freeing people from bondage, not only physically but also spiritually. The lawgiver symbolizing divine order, morality, and the sacred structure for human living. The prophet acting as an intermediary between the divine and human realms. The spiritual journey leading from slavery, ignorance, or sin, through wilderness testing and transformation, toward the promised land enlightenment or fulfillment. In many spiritual interpretations, Moses' story parallels the soul's journey. Egypt symbolizes bondage to materialism or ego. The Exodus is awakening or liberation. The wilderness is purification and learning. Mount Sinai is receiving divine wisdom. The promised land is the goal of union with the divine or spiritual fulfillment. Moses as the inner seeker or Salan mystical traditions like Kabbalah, Gnosticism, or esoteric Christianity. Moses is not just a historical figure, but also a symbol of the higher self or awakened consciousness, born into bondage Egypt. Symbolizes the soul incarnating into a world of illusion or ego. Mitzrayim in Hebrew means narrow place, representing limitation. Raised in Pharaoh's house, the soul begins its life shaped by the false identity or worldly system. Awakening moment, burning bush, the spark of divine realization ignites. The higher calling is remembered. Confronting Pharaoh, facing the ego, the inner tyrant, or the world systems that resist awakening. Plagues the shaking of illusions, breaking attachments, and cleansing the soul's path. Crossing the Red Sea, a spiritual rebirth or passing from the old self to the new. Wilderness wandering, the inner purification, trials, and shedding of egoic habits. It's the liminal space between bondage and spiritual fulfillment. Mount Sinai and the tablets, direct communion with the divine, receiving cosmic law's truth beyond man-made rules. Not entering the promised land. The higher self leads but doesn't enter. The ego must fully die before reaching full enlightenment. His message, Mysticalamos' spiritual message, in mystical terms, know the one. All illusion falls away when we recognize the unified source. Free yourself. Liberation isn't just social. It's soul freedom from fear, false identity, and spiritual ignorance. Walk through the wilderness, embrace the spiritual path. It is difficult but sacred. Receive divine law within. The true Torah is written not just on stone, but in the heart and soul. Prepare for the inner promised land, a return to divine union, the eternal homeland of the spirit. The burning bush, symbol of awakened. In Exodus 3, Moses encounters a bush that burns but is not consumed. Spiritually, this moment is the soul's awakening to divine presence. Mystical symbolism, the bush represents the material world or the body, ordinary, humble, even thorny. The fire, the eternal divine presence, Shekinah, Holy Spirit within all things, not consumed. Divine energy can live within matter without destroying it, suggesting the unity of spirit and form. Moses removing his sandals, a symbol of humility and stepping out of the ego or earthly identity to stand on sacred ground, higher consciousness. The voice of I am that I am, Ehihe Asher Ehiha, the eternal, boundless nature of the divine self, pure being, beyond name or form. It echoes the soul's true identity when fully awakened. The burning bush is thus a portal, moment when the veil lifts and the soul hears the call to its divine purpose.